Every second, a signal travels through the air. Invisible currents pulse through your room right now, connecting screens, voices, and faces across the world. But sometimes, something else rides those signals. You touch your phone, and it wakes up, as if it knows you're there. Your smart speaker answers a question you never asked. A notification appears from an app you deleted months ago. You tell yourself it's a glitch, but deep down, you feel it, a presence behind the code. They say ghosts haunt old houses and graveyards. But what if they've learned to haunt what we build today? The devices we hold, the cameras that watch, the networks that never sleep. Because when everything is connected, nothing stays dead for long. This is haunted technology, the spirits that live in our devices. Tonight, we'll uncover the stories hidden in the circuits and wires we trust. Moments that began as ordinary, a call, a message, a sound from another room, and became something no one could explain. Phones that scream when no one's touching them. Televisions that whisper your name, even when they're unplugged. Cameras that capture faces no one remembers seeing. And devices that wake on their own, answering to voices that aren't human. Each account comes from real people, users, witnesses, and technicians who swore they heard something moving inside the signal. From haunted smart homes to cursed live streams that never ended, to texts sent by hands long gone. And if you think you'd never fall for such tales, stay until the very end, because the last story might make you afraid to touch your phone again. Once confessed to working on something far stranger. He called it the spirit phone. A device, he said, that could capture voices from the other side, not through superstition, but through science. He believed that if souls retained energy after death, then perhaps, that energy could be recorded. But Edison never completed his invention. At least, that's what the records say. Some researchers claim that a handful of prototypes were quietly tested, sealed away after technicians heard voices that answered back. Voices that didn't belong to anyone in the room. Decades later, others picked up where he left off. In the 1950s and 60s, as tape recorders became common, strange discoveries began to surface. Paranormal investigators and curious scientists reported something unexpected. When they played back silent recordings, there were sounds, faint, human, impossible. They called it EVP, electronic voice phenomena. They said the voices came in short bursts, hidden between frequencies. Some sounded like children laughing, others like distorted screams. And always, the same eerie truth, the words seemed to respond to the questions asked. Imagine you're sitting alone, an old tape recorder in front of you. The room is silent, you press record. You speak softly into the void, is anyone here? A pause. Nothing. Then, on playback, through the hiss of static, you hear it, a faint whisper, low, broken, but unmistakable, yes. Those who performed these experiments said they felt watched. Some said the air grew colder the longer the machines ran. And when they turned them off, they swore the faint sound of breathing lingered behind them. If you heard a voice like this in your own recording, would you play it again? With a few words, they could dim the lights, lock the doors, even start the coffee maker from bed. But the first sign that something wasn't right came just 3 nights after they moved in. At exactly 3 a.m., the bedroom lights turned on. One after another, flickering like a pattern. At first, they thought it was a glitch in the system. Then they noticed it wasn't random. Each flicker had rhythm, short flashes followed by long ones. Later, when they recorded it and compared it online, the pattern matched a Morse code translation. It spelled one word. Hello. The husband tried to reset the system, thinking it was a software error. The wife laughed it off. But that same night, at exactly the same time, 3 a.m., their smart speaker came to life. Without command. Without a wake word. It began to play music, a lullaby neither of them had ever heard before. The melody was soft, broken, and in the background of the song, faintly, there was a voice humming along. When the husband asked, "Alexa, who's playing that music?" the device responded, in its normal tone. This song was added by Guest 03. But when they checked the app, there was no Guest 03. They tried to brush it off. For a few days, everything seemed fine. Until one evening, while watching TV, their security camera sent a notification, motion detected in the living room. They checked the feed. There was a figure standing just behind the couch. Still. Silent. The outline of a man. But in the reflection of the television, there were only the two of them. The couple called the security company. The technicians came the next morning, inspected every wire, every sensor. No faults. No signs of hacking. The devices, they said, were perfectly normal. That night, the husband decided to factory reset everything, to start over. He wiped the data, disconnected every account, deleted all recorded voices. But the next morning, he checked the system logs. The same commands had reappeared. Every one of them. Only now, they weren't written in his username. Each command had been typed manually, by someone else. One line repeated over and over. "I'm still here." Panicked, they unplugged everything. The router, the smart speakers, even the power to the house. Darkness. Silence. And then, in that silence, a familiar voice spoke, from the unplugged smart speaker on the counter. "Don't leave me alone." The couple moved out the next week. The new tenants never reported a single issue. But sometimes, late at night, delivery drivers claim they still see the lights flicker through the window. 3 short flashes, 3 long, 3 short. A message in code. Would you still keep your smart devices, after hearing that? It began as an ordinary stream, just another night of gaming and chatting with followers. Her name was Marissa Kane, a small content creator from Portland, with barely 1,000 subscribers. Her setup was simple, a camera, a ring light, and a microphone perched beside her. But what happened that night would become one of the strangest digital mysteries ever recorded. At exactly 10:42 p.m., Marissa greeted her viewers, smiling, joking about staying up too late. For the next hour, everything seemed normal. Then, her expression changed. Her eyes shifted, as if she'd heard something behind her. The chat noticed first. Messages flooded in. What was that? Someone's behind you. Did you hear that whisper? Marissa laughed nervously, turned the camera toward the door, nothing there. She blamed it on her cat. But her viewers didn't believe it. Because as she turned the camera back, a reflection flashed in the corner of the screen. A figure standing just behind her shoulder. A tall shape, motionless, its head slightly tilted, watching. Within seconds, the live chat exploded. Who's that? Marissa, look. Behind you. Then, her face froze, mid-smile. The stream glitched. The audio fractured into a high-pitched screech. And then, in a voice that didn't sound like hers, came her last words, repeated backward. The screen went black. Viewers refreshed the page, assuming the connection had dropped. But the stream didn't end. It stayed live. For 72 hours. During that time, thousands of new viewers tuned in. The video feed returned sporadically, flashes of her empty apartment. The faint outline of movement in the dark. Sometimes the microphone would activate by itself, picking up faint sounds. The shuffle of footsteps, quiet breathing. And once, the sound of someone whispering her username. Police were called to her address on the second night. The door was locked from the inside. Her computer was still streaming, webcam light glowing red. But there was no sign of Marissa. Only her chair, turned slightly toward the window. The stream continued until the early hours of the third morning, when the video suddenly flashed white, then stopped. No one knows who ended it. The account was deleted hours later, but fragments of the footage were saved by users around the world. In one of those clips, the final frame, there's a reflection in the glass behind her chair. It's faint, almost impossible to see. A shape, human-like, but its face is blurred forward, as if it's staring into the camera itself. Some say her channel reappears every year on the same date. For a few minutes. Streaming nothing but static. Those who claim to have seen it say they heard a voice whispering through the noise. The same line, over and over. "I'm still live." If you ever come across the clip, look closely. There's something hidden in the reflection most people miss. Did you see it? It began with a single text message. A simple vibration that cut through the quiet of a grieving home. The man's father had died 7 days earlier, buried, mourned, gone. But on a Thursday evening, at exactly 7:12 p.m., his phone lit up. The sender's name glowed across the screen, Dad. The message read, "I'm home." At first, he froze. He told himself it was an old scheduled message, something that had been delayed. But the timestamp was current, sent just seconds before. And when he tried to reply, the message app crashed. He called the number. No ringtone. Just static, faint, shifting, like wind moving through an empty hallway. The next morning, he went to the phone company. They traced the number, his father's old line, but the account had been disconnected the week before the funeral. The SIM card was destroyed. The operator looked at the records, confused. There were no signs of spoofing, no rerouted data. The message shouldn't exist. For days after, his phone kept lighting up. Always at the same hour. The same message. Each time, the words changed slightly. From, "I'm home," to, "Come outside." And finally, "Why did you leave?" He stopped answering. He even replaced his phone. But the new device, brand new, still sealed, began to vibrate that night. A notification blinked. Unknown sender. No number. Only one word on the screen. Listen. He pressed play. The recording was short, 3 seconds long. Just his father's voice. Hoarse. Familiar. Whispering something he used to say when the lights went out. "Don't forget to turn off the phone before you sleep." There are thousands of stories like this online. Messages, voicemails, calls from numbers that no longer exist. Some say it's a trick of data, a digital echo of our grief. Others believe something deeper hides in the circuits. That when we die, a part of us stays behind, searching for the last connection. The phone buzzed on the table, cold, lifeless plastic vibrating with a voice that shouldn't exist. Would you have answered it? Have you ever had a message that made your blood run cold? You've heard the stories, the cursed homes, the haunted streams, the voices that reach through circuits and code. And maybe, as you listened, you felt something shift, something small. A flicker in your lights. A vibration from your phone. A whisper beneath the sound. Some viewers say this video makes their devices act strange. Screens freeze for no reason. Speakers hum, even when turned off. One person claimed their smart assistant powered on mid-sentence. And repeated a single phrase, the same one whispered earlier in the video. And to this day, no one can explain why. So if your screen just glitched, if your lights flickered, don't worry. It's probably nothing. Which story chilled you most? Comment below. And remember, never watch alone. Still here.